Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma in for Maya Trabulsi. San Diego Pride Weekend kicks off tonight with the Spirit of Stonewall Rally. Tomorrow, more than 250,000 people are expected to line the streets of Hillcrest for the Pride Parade. It starts at 10 a.m. If you attend this weekend's events, you may notice more San Diego police officers on patrol. Pride organizers say they are also adding extra security to boost crowd monitoring, and they are only allowing clear bags into the festival in Balboa Park on Saturday and Sunday. Organizers say it's all about safety.
When you look around the country, there's an increase in hate crimes against all sorts of marginalized communities, specifically LGBTQ plus communities, immigrant populations. And it's important to us to make sure that everyone in our community is as safe as possible.
The nonprofit GLAAD tracked more than 908 incidents against the LGBTQ plus community between May 2024 and May 2025. More than half of these incidents were against trans and gender nonconforming people. The Mexican consulate in San Diego is launching a new program offering legal services to LGBTQ plus Mexicans. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says it's free and confidential.
The Special Defense Program for Inclusion, known by its Spanish acronym DETI, offers legal representation in cases of discrimination, labor violations, domestic violence, and more. Alicia Kerbel Palma, Consul General of Mexico in San Diego, says LGBTQ plus victims of crimes often need specialized assistance, and they may not feel safe going directly to the police or U.S. government agencies on their own.
Hey, detain that lady.
Especially now, amid ICE raids at courthouses.
So that's why we want to give that space here at the consulate so that the consulate can go with them step by step so that those cases can be seen and can be solved.
The program is launching on the eve of Pride Weekend, which kicks off in Hillcrest Friday evening with the Spirit of Stonewall Rally. Emin Morris is an attorney with the Border Butterflies Project, which supports LGBTQ plus asylum seekers. He says many immigrants in the United States are living in fear.
It's also a difficult time to be a member of the transgender community, LGBT community, and so when you have an immigrant who is also LGBT, they're standing really at the crosshairs of being targeted.
Mexican nationals can access the services by visiting the consulate on India Street in Little Italy or by calling 619-231-3847. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
The Trump administration moved to end the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline specialized service for LGBTQ plus youth. Coming up, how California is stepping in to help. The Environmental Protection Agency continues to downsize under the Trump administration. The agency announced today it will eliminate about 500 positions in its Office of Research and Development. The EPA has lost about 3,700 staffers since President Trump took office. Despite the staff cuts, the agency says it plans to create a new Office of Applied Science and Environmental Solutions to allow the EPA to prioritize research and science more than ever before. The Republican-led House cleared legislation that claws back about $9 billion from the federal budget, including funds for foreign aid and public media. Karen Kafa reports from Washington.
House Republicans signed off on billions of dollars in funding cuts sought by President Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, handing the president another legislative win.
We clawed back $9 billion in taxpayer funds and wasteful spending, fraud, waste, and abuse.
The DOGE spending cuts were passed under an obscure and rarely used budget law that prevented a Senate filibuster. And they canceled $9 billion in federal funding that was previously approved by Congress. $1.1 billion will be stripped from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which helps fund NPR and PBS, and about $8 billion will be taken from foreign aid programs. The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, was one of the first agencies targeted by DOGE. With staffing decimated, nearly 500 metric tons of emergency aid food is set to expire this month and will be destroyed at taxpayer expense.
It takes a lot of people, a lot of workers, a lot of contracts to move this food around the world, and all of those people were laid off. All of the USAID programs were suspended.
Democrats chastising Republicans who have supported the administration's cuts.
It's going to make us less safe. It's going to take funding away from public broadcasting for our kids when they're already having an all-out assault on public education.
House Speaker Mike Johnson hinted at further federal funding cuts, describing rescissions as an ongoing quest. In Washington, Karen Kafa, KPBS News.
As we just heard, Congress has eliminated federal funding for public media. Here to discuss what that means for KPBS is General Manager Deanna Mackey. Deanna, welcome. Let's get right into the numbers. How much of KPBS's budget came from federal funding?
Well, it's a large number. It's $4.3 million, which represents 12% of our budget. And we used that money to pay our dues for PBS and NPR programming. So it's a true concern because it's anticipated that 100 stations across the country will go under as a result of this cut, which means more pressure on larger stations like KPBS to make up the difference for this national content.
So there's a difference that has to be made up. Locally, are there any programs that you anticipate KPBS will have to cut?
No, we do not have any plans to make cuts, at least in this current fiscal year 26, which just started this month. However, down the line, we don't anticipate it, but we are doing outreach to our community to ask for support because we have to make up that $4.3 million.
What kind of response have you received so far?
Oh, great. An amazing response. Really, since January, when we started our messaging about being an essential public service, we've had so many people call, send emails, stop me at events and in the stores just to say thank you. Thank KPBS for the local news service, for our children's programming, for our community events. We are beloved by our audience, and I'm really grateful for that. And we are seeing people responding with support now as well.
So you talked about reaching out next. You talked about people coming up to you and expressing gratitude for all that KPBS does for the community, in addition to its programming. What happens next beyond what you described?
So we have just launched today a campaign. It happens to be our 65th birthday, and we're basically saying to the community, for 65 years we've been here for you, and we expect to be here for 65 more, but we need your help. And we are using all of our platforms to let people know that they can go to kpbs.org and they can donate, and they can help us make up that $4.3 million, because it isn't for 1 year. It's for the future. It's forever. So we have to do the best we can to be great stewards of the support, but we also need the community to come forward for us.
Deanna, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm John Yang. Tonight on the NewsHour, inside the MAGA debate over the Epstein investigation files, coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
A former Imperial County official has filed a lawsuit against the county government. KPBS Imperial Valley reporter Corey Suzuki says she's accusing Supervisor Jesus Escobar of sexual harassment over the course of several years.
Former clerk of the Board of Supervisors, Blanca Acosta, filed the lawsuit last month in Imperial County Superior Court. Acosta alleges Escobar made unwanted sexual comments to her dating back to 2022. She claims Escobar touched her head, face, and neck without permission and spread false rumors that they were in a relationship. Escobar did not respond to a request for comment. Imperial County Chairman John Hawk says the county will take immediate steps in light of the lawsuit, including mandatory staff trainings.
Whether we were aware of it or not, we want to stop at this point and say, listen, it's wrong. Sexual harassment has no place in our county.
Hawk said he couldn't comment on the details of the lawsuit. He did not say whether Escobar would face disciplinary action. Acosta served as clerk of the board since 2014. The board voted to fire her earlier this year without providing a reason. Acosta claims the county fired her after she reported the allegations of sexual harassment. In El Centro, Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
Imagine growing up in the U.S., going to high school, starting a career, having a family, only to learn that you're not an American citizen. KPBS reporter Gustavo Solis says that is exactly what happened to thousands of children born in other countries and adopted by American parents in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Shirley Chung was adopted from South Korea in 1966 and raised in Texas. You can still hear it when she talks.
I grew up in a black household, went to white private schools, went to black churches with my parents, went to white churches with my friends I went to school with.
Chung assumed she was an American citizen most of her life, until she misplaced her Social Security card about 5 years ago and tried to get a new one. She was 57 at the time.
So when I went to the Social Security office, that's when they told me, we can't give you your card. You need to prove your status in this country, is what they said. So I didn't know what that meant.
It meant that she wasn't actually a U.S. citizen.
I think I was more hurt than anything because it started triggering all those feelings of you don't belong. You're not white enough, you're not black enough, you're not Korean enough, now you're not American enough, now your future is no longer secure.
Chung is just one of between 30 and 70,000.
Affordable Care Act insurers are proposing their steepest premium increases since 2018. That's according to health policy research group KFF. It looked at 105 ACA insurers in 19 states and the District of Columbia. KFF found insurers are asking for a typical rate increase of 15%, and more than a quarter are proposing hikes of at least 20%. The expiration of ACA premium subsidies and rising healthcare costs are among the reasons for the increases. Governor Gavin Newsom says California will keep a critical suicide prevention line open for LGBTQ plus youth, even as the federal government pulls funding. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco explains what is at stake.
The state will partner with the Trevor Project to maintain its specialized option on the National 988 crisis line. The service was set to shut down this week after losing federal funding under the Trump administration. The hotline handled more than 230,000 crisis contacts this year alone. According to the Trevor Project, nearly 40% of LGBTQ youth seriously considered suicide in the past year. But those who had access to affirming services like 988 were significantly less likely to attempt it.
The youth in this country actually have really taken it hard with all of the things happening in the current political climate.
Local performer and former crisis counselor for the Trevor Project, Justin Renaissance, remembers answering calls the night Trump was elected in 2016.
We had the most suicide calls within inside of one night. I was at the call center that night, and it was because of the uncertainty of what would happen and what rights would be taken away. So the crisis line is so important for LGBTQ plus youth in order to maintain their safety.
In San Diego County, about 1 in 6 teens identifies as LGBTQ, and they are 3 times more likely than their straight peers to have considered suicide. Local services exist, but they're overwhelmed. Experts say the region needs 18,500 more mental health workers by 2027, and barriers like stigma and funding gaps still block access. Lawmakers have urged Human and Health Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to reverse the national shutdown. So far, the agency hasn't responded. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
New research shows denials for prescription drugs by private insurance companies shot up 25% between 2016 and 2023. A data company compiled more than 4 billion claims on behalf of the New York Times. The findings do not say what happened after denials, but insurance industry officials said some prescriptions were eventually approved. Some experts say artificial intelligence may have contributed to claim denials. Several health insurers, including United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, and Anthem, declined to comment. It's the time of year when children are outside a lot, whether they're attending sports camps, summer practices, or just playing outdoors. The rising temperatures can put them at risk. Mandy Gaither has tips to help parents keep kids safe from heat-related illnesses.
As the temperatures rise, so does the risk of getting really sick from the hot sun.
It's hard for your body to actually sweat out that heat and to get rid of it. So you're at much higher risk of heat-related problems.
Dr. Ashley Brulette with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says this time of year, it's especially important to keep kids hydrated before, during, and after activities. She says if they're outside for under an hour, make sure they're drinking plenty of water. But if they're spending more than 60 minutes outdoors, she suggests supplementing with a sports drink.
And then also being mindful of what time of day we're doing activities. So doing things earlier in the morning, later at night, having shady breaks, things like that are going to be really important for monitoring long term.
If your child is an athlete, Brulette says to gradually introduce heat before outdoor practice to allow the body to acclimate to it, and be mindful of equipment and clothing that they're wearing.
Not overdressing, light layers, light colors, things like that will be helpful.
Knowing signs of heat-related illnesses is also important. The most severe sickness from the sun is heat stroke. Symptoms include confusion, irrational behavior, drowsiness, nausea, vomiting, and a high temperature of 104 degrees and above. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The doctor says hydrating and taking breaks from the heat is very important. She also recommends getting out of the sun during those breaks, either into an air-conditioned place or a shady area.
Well, the marine layer, that continues to be an issue, causing low clouds and fog in a lot of our valleys and coastal areas daily, at night, and first thing in the morning. So just expect that to continue. Now, I mentioned we have the rain and thunderstorms that a lot of us dealt with throughout the day on this Friday. That's going to significantly lessen as we head into the weekend. We can't completely rule out a shower or a thunderstorm, especially into our desert regions, but it'll be a drier weekend ahead overall. Temperature-wise, we're warmer throughout the weekend, and then we start to see those temperatures fall maybe back to right in the ballpark of our historical averages. Let's talk about what to expect for tonight. First of all, there's the clouds in our coastal regions and towards the valleys. Mid-60s across the board for a lot of us here. Of course, warmer in Borrego Springs with that 74, 59 for Mount Laguna overnight. As we look ahead to tomorrow, let's take a look at what to expect here. 77 in Oceanside, 74 in San Diego, continuing with some of the clouds, especially those low clouds first thing in the morning, like I mentioned. We're in the triple digits in Borrego Springs. Nothing new there. We're at 70 in Mount Laguna. I mentioned the rain. Let's take a look at how this plays out on future radar. Kind of give you an idea that a lot of the action, it's north and east of us. But as we play this out, we will see maybe a shower or two pop up during the day, especially maybe Saturday afternoon. Overall, expect things to be mostly dry, but just don't be surprised if you do see a shower or a thunderstorm, like I said, especially in those desert regions. Taking a look at our 5-day outlooks here, we'll start on the coast. Temperatures 77 for your Saturday, but then we do see things decrease by a few degrees as we head into the work week. 75 on our Monday. We warm right back up. A little bit of a roller coaster, but when it's just 2-3 degrees difference, you're not really noticing too much here. We're in the low 80s further inland. Then we we drop down to 80 by Monday. Our Mountain 5-day outlook, we're in the 60s and the 70s, depending on the day over the next 5 days here. And then, of course, we stay in the triple digits in our desert regions. Temperatures dropping from that 105 closer to 102 by the time we get to Tuesday and Wednesday. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Anna Azalian.
Have you listened to The Finest? The KPBS podcast captures the people, art, and movements redefining our region's cultural identity. New episodes come out on Thursdays. You can listen now at kpbs.org/thefinest or wherever you get your podcasts. Spirits are still high for Wuthering Heights, a classic Gothic love story written in the 19th century. Its legacy is honored both by its namesake song and its cult following. KPBS's Maya Trabulsi introduces us to a local group looking to have the most Wuthering Heights day ever.
The Pacific Beach Public Library. While separated far and wide from Emily Bronte's English moors in the 1800s, something keeps them very much connected. You have a temper like my jealousy. The music of Kate Bush.
What we try to do is we try to copy her music videos. I'm Christina Wainwright. I'm the branch manager here at the Pacific Beach branch of the San Diego Public Library.
Creative at heart and resourceful to a T, both literally and figuratively. Wainwright spearheaded SDLPT reads during the pandemic to bring the library community together by reading classics over Zoom, finishing every read with a cuppa.
It was sort of like Mr. Rogers putting on his sweater, and just like we'd pour out a cup of tea, we'd say like, what tea are you having today? And then we'd sit down like, all right, let's go ahead and read chapter 2 of Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte.
A tempestuous love story between Kathy and Heathcliff. And as books go, one chapter led to another. That led to a song and dance.
And then right after we read Wuthering Heights, I think it was in 2021, a friend of mine sent me the video of people wuthering, and she was just like, why have you not done this?
Wuthering, of which Wainwright assures me is now a verb, is what she set out to do. In 2013, a group in the UK, the Shambushes, emulated Kate Bush's song in what they called the ultimate Kate Bush experience. Since then, Wuthering events have taken place annually around the world.
They wanted to have the world's largest gathering of Kate Bushes. And so they invited people to come dressed up as Kate Bush, and they chose this song as the one that people would dance to at their Kate Bush event.
And since their very first Wuthering in 2021, the first and only in California, the Pacific Beach group can't get enough of the dance. One red costume piece at a time.
We're all coming in our red dresses. We are all Kathys or we're all Kates. You know, whether you're a Kate Bush fan or a Kathy Earnshaw fan from the book.
The group prepares for their practice performance. Even the San Diego Public Library's mascot, Odie, can't resist a good wuther.
We start out in our red dresses against a green backdrop. And as the music starts, we all lift our heads up and then raise our arms up. And together we roll and fall in green. Because that's how the song starts, like, out on the Wiley.
Kate Bush's eerily high register in the song reflects Kathy's ghostly presence in the book.
The music is kind of haunting. It's very gentle. It's different. And then when you hear her start to sing, again, I can't do her voice. Her voice, she goes up high because it's like, out in the wily, windy moors, out on the wily, windy moors. So it has that kind of unearthly quality to it, which makes sense for anyone who knows the book at all.
It was really specifically for that song that it was that high because of the subject matter and the fact that I'm playing Kathy and that she was a spirit.
A student of mime, Kate Bush used interpretive movement in her performance. Drama that is not lost on our San Diego Kathys. Wainwright offers dancing tutorials online.
Windy moor, we roll and fall. And it's just this whole thing of everyone coming together, doing this dramatic artistic movement. And it feels beautiful. It really does. You just feel connected to each other and to the music.
I
love Heathcliff.
I know.
He's my favorite. Kathy is actually a ghost, and she's there to look at Heathcliff and she sees him in the window, and he's looking out over the moors, and he's dreaming of her and thinking of her, and she's doing a dance to him, saying, "Let me in your window, I'm cold." It's me, I'm Kathy, I've come home, I'm so cold, let me in your window.
I get a little over dramatic sometimes because it's like, the song builds, and eventually she says, oh, forgive me, I'm going to do it, it's okay. She says, it's me, Kathy. And she's just so passionate about it. And it's like every time, it's like I'm torn between just being like, my heart is out there, and I also want to laugh because it's so fun.
Maya Trabulsi.
We drink some tea and we have some snacks. And, if folks want to dance again, it's not hard to twist my arm. We will dance again.
KPBS News.
The most Wuthering Heights Day ever takes place at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the Pacific Beach Libraries Park. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amita Sharma. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.